Hey everyone, it's Josh at Prescription Fitness Physical Therapy and Sports Care. Just coming today to provide a little bit of insight information on stretching. So when we look at stretching, there's all sorts of theories on really what stretching does. What actually happens, I don't know if we exactly know, but the sort of lead theories are as follows. So when we go to stretch, what we're doing is we're imparting a mechanical force onto a tissue. So if we look back into our physics, if we go back to high school physics, we look at a stress strain curve. And a stress strain curve kind of looks like this. So what we're looking at is we're looking at the amount of load that we're imparting over time. And this phase right here, this bottom phase, so when we impart a stress, if we take it only to here, this is what's called the elastic phase. So if we take a rubber band and we stretch it, as soon as we let go, it goes back to its resting length. If we take it up into this zone is called the toe region. The toe region, this is where we start to see permanent deformation. And then when we get into this phase, this is the phase where we actually stretch everything out. And this is called the plastic phase. So demonstration with our rubber band, so we're imparting a stretch onto the tissues. So as we impart a stretch, so we hold it, we stretch it out. Okay, it feels pretty good. Uh-oh, broke already. So we already went from toe rain, boom, all the way into the end stage of this thing. So that demonstration kind of fell apart, but basically we stretch it to go back to its normal length. Now we stretch it into that end range, and then we go into the plastic range. If we take it into the plastic range too far, it does what this rubber band did, and this rubber band obviously is old. So when we're looking at a stretch, one of the theories is that we're neuromodulating. Neuromodulation is just sort of a terminology to describe what happens with the nervous system, how it affects the muscles. There's different organelles within the muscle that can be either stretch sensitive or tension sensitive. And so they regulate, they can turn on or off muscles. And so neuromodulation is taking those structures and calming them down. So when we calm it down, all of a sudden we were able to take this tissue and deform it even further. You know, it's sort of the phenomenon. So if you're doing a stretch, let's say I'm doing a pec stretch on a doorway, and if on my last one, I hold it, stretching about 20-30 seconds, I'm holding it into that position, take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, I can go a little bit further. So what does that do to the length of the muscle? Well, really what it does, it neuromodulates tone. So we're able to affect the nervous system. It changes its regulatory influence on the muscle, and we can go a little bit further. So we stretch that tissue further. There's another theory. So if we break it down into what a muscle is actually made of. So a muscle is made up of stacked what are called sarcomeres, and sarcomeres are essentially the functional contractile element of a muscle. So they're kind of these little building blocks of muscles where if I layer them end to end, it adds to length of muscle. And these are made of actin myosin filaments, which kind of pull on each other like this, and so as the muscle contracts, they kind of glide together. As we stretch, it kind of pulls apart. So one of the theories is that if we impart a mechanical stress and we do this repeatedly over time, what the body does is it adapts and it adds sarcomeres, which adds physical length to the muscle. So what really happens when we stretch? Probably a little bit of both. So there may be an actual physiological change in the length, or it could be neuromodulation of tone, or a little bit of both. So when we stretch, you know, one of the things is how long do we stretch? So I would typically stretch, you want to hold each stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds. Doing more or less than that may or may not have as much of an effect. And we want to do about anywhere from 3 to 5 repetitions per body part. And we want to try to stretch every single day, because that seems to be the best, unless we're trying to take a tissue. So if someone came in with a frozen shoulder, what we do is we put them into what's called a TERT position, which patients hate, they call it something else, but it's total end range time, and that was a phrase coined by one of the greats in physical therapy, George Davies. But what we do is we take the tissue, we put it into end range position, and we sustain it there. So we're taking advantage again of our stress strain curve. So we're trying to take it out of the elastic phase and bring it into the plastic phase there, and that creates permanent deformation. So that's one of the ways that we stretch. So when we look at stretching, that's kind of what happens. If you want to learn more, feel free to reach out to us. So you can reach us through our Facebook site, prescriptionfitnessphysicaltherapy.com, link to our Facebook site. I'd love to hear from you.